Yo, what is up, guys? If you're interested in getting coached by me personally, feel free to join my Discord server and DM me directly. Link is in the description down below. I've helped hundreds of players to get to their dream rank, and I can guarantee that I could do the same with you. Enjoy the video.
Let's do a VOD review of your Viego game because I think there's a lot we can talk about. There are great plays that you did, but also plays that definitely cost you like some deaths. Plays that could have allowed you to snowball much harder in the game than what you actually did. All right, so here, clear from top to bot, we see the Lee Sin coming from top side, so obviously we already know that he started from top side because he has the red buff right around him. Yasuo makes him lose like a lot of time, therefore you are ahead in tempo. You're gonna do your Krugs as well as getting level 4 here, and because you're level 4, you're obviously much stronger than the Lee Sin. We're looking at the map and we see that the Lee Sin is on wolves, so right now we have guaranteed information, right? And the most important thing is that what you're going to see is that once he finishes his walls. All right, now look at the Lee Sin, right? This is something I look on the minimap and it's called auto pathing. It's when someone is pathing towards a certain location and you will see that he paths towards the scuttle, right? He doesn't path towards bot side scuttle. He paths like directly towards scuttle. So he doesn't go, he doesn't take the bottom route, he takes the top route, which gives us the guaranteed information that he's actually going for scuttle. So let's see what happens while looking at Lee Sin. Boom, right? And this is something I see on the minimap, right? I see that on the minimap and I'm like, hey, we know for a fact Lee Sin is going for scuttle here. We can fight him. We're level 4, he's level 3. We have red buff, we have blue buff, we have everything we ever want in order to fight him. We're not looking at bot because they have all sums. Even though our teammates have all sums, Lee Sin is also here as a backup. So even if he's level 3, it's still Lucian Nami. They have barrier, they have ignite. So they're fairly even if you ganked here, because you would use your mobility spells in order to gank bot lane. But because we know for a fact we're stronger than Lee Sin, obviously we go for the Lee Sin here and it ends up paying off, obviously. So let's play it. So here, like I said, Lee Sin was here, so I told you to fight him. Here we already know that Lee Sin is here. So what you can do, by the way, if you're even better, pause, is you could have charged your W before even seeing him, like in the bush. And you could have used your ward, obviously, if you want like extra information. But because like you kind of calculate the route between him like going there over to bush, like pre-charging the W would make it so that he can't actually dodge like your spell. So here he goes towards scuttle. And we know for a fact, and we don't know for a fact if Lee Sin flashed because Yasuo did not give us that information. I told you to fight the Lee Sin, obviously we end up winning. You go all the way around, W onto the ward, flash, that's really good. You're repositioning with your team. Melio is nowhere to be seen. He's kind of trolling here. And this is good because not only are you resetting your CDs, but you're also making your team come towards you and they're fighting, they're using spells, they're using everything. Yasuo is here, you're staying outside of vision for a very long time. You burst the Nami, you killed the Nami, so that was good. Here we should have played like a little bit more patiently. So we actually took a lot of damage from the Nami form because Nami form is obviously like a lot more squishy than the Viego form here. So we could have won this fight just being a little bit more patient to be on the Viego form. And again, you know, like thinking that we could actually fight the Lee Sin here. But the best play would have been to play for the scuttle here, to be honest, because if we still had the Nami form. Here we go towards the Raptors because obviously Lee Sin spent a really long time at bot lane. And because we know that Lee Sin is most likely backing towards top side, we could have done Krugs here. So like pause, do full vision. We can do Krugs here is because we know for a fact Lee Sin has two options here. Either he's a really good jungler and he doesn't do scuttle, backs immediately and goes towards his top side because he would assume that you're going there, right? Either he is not a good jungler and he is doing this mistake, which is doing blue into Gromp. Why is this a mistake? Because obviously level 1 camps are less, they have like less value than level 2 camps, right? This is the first thing. And second, if you're taking his level 2 camps, he's going to be extremely behind. And this is something Lee Sin doesn't consider. but we could have still gone for Crux because we assumed that he is going for Scuttle here based off of our fight and his pathing, right? Here I told you to look at top side. It's always important to look at laners because obviously there's not the HP bar happening like on the practice tool, not the practice tool, the spectator tool that we have where we can see like all summoner spells and HP. So it's always good to see, okay, 1, wave states, 2, how much HP do they have, 3, you know, are they using any spells that could allow me for an easier gank. And obviously here Kled does die, so it's a little bit bad, but Lee Sin is so behind in tempo right now. Like he's doing wolves now and he's clearing towards top side, going for Void Grubs, which is again extremely fucking troll because if you look at his items, he is nowhere as strong as you, right? You have recurve bow, you have 2 long swords, you have dagger, he has 1 long sword, so he still didn't back, and now he tries to even fight you here, which again is very troll because he's gonna lose HP. If he's losing HP, then Void Grubs are gonna be completely free, which is essentially what you go for here. You don't care whether you're showing on the map, because you know for a fact that there's absolutely nothing Lee Sin can do. We have prio top side, we don't have prio mid, but that's okay, we can still force them, we have more than enough damage. Even if Lee Sin comes here, there's no way they can ever beat this. I was a little bit worried about the Darius here, obviously, because Darius is making his way towards top side. We do take two Void Grubs here, and here I told you leave, because obviously it's a 2 versus 3. So we don't actually want to force things too much. But because Lee Sin didn't back and buy his items, he's extremely low, very vulnerable to anything. You miss your W here, unfortunately. That's okay. I think you're still able to brute force the kill on the Sylas, because you're still very strong, and he is not. If you look at his items, it just makes sense as to why he wasn't able to beat you here, because his item only procs every, I don't know, 10-12 seconds, something like that. Here you back, that's good. We're really good in tempo. We have our Kraken Slayer, so here there's no excuse. Like, there's absolutely no way we lose any fight here, and you do end up losing some fights, you do end up dying, which did start snowballing against you, because not only are you giving like a lot of gold away, but you're also giving like a lot of XP away, right? Because if you look at Lee Sin's XP right now, let's try to look at it, full vision, click on Lee Sin. Now you look at Lee Sin, he is extremely behind from you, right? You have to realize that right now you're already backed, you have all your counts available. Lee Sin has only his top side available, but Drake is up, so he's extremely behind in tempo, right? What we want to play as patiently as possible here, which you did. You go on the Lucian, that's good, then you go on the Nami. A little bit sad we didn't get the kill here, but that's fine. Here we should try to focus the Lee Sin as much as possible. Milieu did not help you out. Try to keep your ulti for a little bit longer. You want to use it as an execute and not as just damage dealing. And here, yeah, the Kraken Slayer did its work, so we do end up killing the Lee Sin, but they do end up getting a lot of XP. Like, try to go back and look at the XP Sylas had before your kill and after your kill. Here, obviously, we play for Drake, and this is something that we need. We need it because not only are we already ahead, right? We have a lead on the Lee Sin in terms of gold, in terms of XP, but we have champions that work extremely well with Infernal Drake, namely Kled, namely you, namely Kai'Sa, namely Yasuo, right? This is gonna work perfectly with our team. 3% of total AD is amazing on certain champions, especially champions that have Rabadon's, Vigar, you know, Rengar, percent passives that gives you like a lot of AD or AP, but it does allow you to snowball even harder, which is more than preferable. Here I told you not to play it too hard, and you did. You know, we don't lose any time. So here you see like the little mistake you did, because you were like a little bit out of tempo. You were able, Lee Sin was able to get his R off, Nami bubble into boom, and then we just end up dying here, unfortunately. If we didn't lose any time, and this is why, you know, like, I can't stress this enough, this is why being extremely efficient in the jungle is really important, is because if you have this extra time allotted, like for any play that you want to make, even if it's like faster clear, faster pathing, faster decision making, not useless movements, then you get all this extra time stacked together, which allows you to make plays happen on the map faster, and therefore being more efficient, therefore getting more CS per minute. You start doing everything
Yeah.
like at the same time. This is the same thing in jungle, and this is kind of like the only role, not the only role. Obviously, you want to do this like as a mid laner, support, top laner, but especially as a jungler because it's PvE, right? The faster you do things, the faster you have like in terms of decision making, the more efficient you are, the more you're present for everything. Therefore, you know, it's gonna pay off like tremendously like later on. But yeah, look at your gameplay and try to visualize what I'm talking about right now into your own gameplay. Okay, let's press play and let's look at it. Here we didn't auto attack, you know, we didn't W, you are, boom, that's fine. You couldn't dodge the Lee Sin. I didn't see the Q here either, by the way, because of
Yeah,
because of
can
your
we
E.
just check when like he actually queued me? Oh, it was
yeah.
right here.
Is when you eat and didn't see it. This sense of urgency, and see like if you're actually like, see here, you're not in sense of urgency, pause. Because if you're going topside as Viego, you want W and then E onto the wall so that you're going to Gromp faster. Like you're not,
Yeah.
and I'm talking about the left wall, the left wall here. This is what a good Viego player would do. You're just running, bro. Like you're just collecting little flowers on the ground. Like, you know, like a challenger player would think, okay, if I double you like immediately, like at spawn and then E onto the wall, I'm gonna get this extra movement speed and like a low dash. So I'm gonna go to my camps faster and I'm gonna win like 1-2 seconds. That's good for me, you know, like. And if you think about it, you know, like, okay, you just lost 10 seconds, right? It's not that big of a deal, Sungod, right? It's not the end of the world. I just ended up losing 10 seconds. But then you look at your previous plays, and you look at your previous plays.
Then they add up.
And you just stack everything up, and you just realize, fuck, I just lost 3 minutes. That's actually insane, right?
Yeah.
And there's a saying that goes, it's not the big spendings that make you feel like you're losing money. It's the small spendings. Small spendings are actually more expensive than the big spendings, because you don't care. Let's say you're buying like a little pack of cigarette of like at €3 every fucking day, right? I'm just gonna buy this TV. Fuck, it's like €200. Damn, I gotta be careful with my money. But then you buy €10 of cigarette pack, 10 every day because you're a big smoker. And at the end of the month, you spent more than a fucking TV and you didn't even realize it, right? So that's what I'm talking about. And it's the same thing when it comes to like League of Legends, but with time. It's like, it's not the big waste of time that makes you feel like you really lost some time. It's the very very small ones that actually matter, because you will recognize when you're losing time, right? Like for example, you walked all the way from bot lane to top lane to check on Lee Sin's camps, and then you realize, fuck, he doesn't have any camps up, right? Damn, I just lost like 30 seconds. I lost time. But then you don't realize the 20 times where you lost like 5 seconds, and you do 20x5 and you actually lost like a lot more, right? Which is around 2 minutes. So if you can't track the enemy jungle, the best way and the best practice that you can have is not necessarily to track the enemy jungle like in the mid game, but to always tell yourself that there's a possible danger, and to not necessarily preemptively make a play happen. You want to play patient, especially because of Viego's identity. Viego's identity does not necessarily want to engage fights. He wants to follow fights, right?
Yeah.
You want to wait for anything, you know, Kled hooking someone, Yasuo wind walling and fucking, you know, pressing R, or, you know, like Milieu pressing Q, or someone that's like overextended, completely alone. You know, that's what you want to be looking for. You want to get your resets. That's your number one priority as the champion. It's not to engage and then dying afterwards. You're not the playmaker here.
Yeah.
That's why Viego is so strong with champions like Nautilus, Leona, Rel, etc. Is because these champions can genuinely set up a play for Viego, which he can follow afterwards.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense actually.
Yeah, so you don't, you know, as Viego, you shouldn't pick Viego if your team doesn't have like any sorts of engage. And in this case, you know, your team doesn't really have a lot of engages, so you kind of feel like sometimes, fuck, you know, I'm going in, but it's not working out. It's because you don't have a setup, right?
Yeah.
Your only setup is a fucking W from Viego. It's just pretty rare. It's a pretty rare scenario. You want to
Yeah.
play scared, even if you're ahead. You want to play scared, but you want to play aggressive at the right moments. And the right moments is when you start going crazy with your resets, right? It's a lot different. Those are things we need to consider at all times. We need to understand the identity of our champion and playing along with them. With Viego, our whole identity is resets. It's burst damage with proper auto attack cancels, which you're not doing like all correctly yet. You know, the auto attack W auto attack, for example, or you know the Qs. Your Q range is extremely high. Like you can kind of poke people with your Q. It's higher than a Yasuo Q, for example.
Yeah.
It's longer, sorry. But yeah, do we have any questions regarding that?
No, it was actually very, very clear.
So can you try to recapitulate whatever I said to you?
That what I should focus on, or
Yeah, what should you focus on like in the near future?
my champion identity, how to use my abilities correctly in fights, jungle tracking,
Yes.
and when to engage, or like when to execute if I'm playing like Viego, I guess.
Okay. And then?
Or am I like totally off? And then my abilities, like my CDs, a sense of urgency. That was the one, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously like the execution, jungle tracking, always have like
Yeah.
a feeling of danger. You know, those are things that you're gonna learn naturally as you learn like small things, right? And this is exactly what we want.